welcome to 2014 NFL Fantasy Football Draft on Yahoo.com. We are using the standard format here, and we're just about to kick off. We've got about a minute left before the draft kit or draft tool opens up. We are presented by FantasyFootballPick.com. Whether it's a season-long or daily fantasy, they've got everything for you guys. They actually have the draft kits available for sites like FanDuel and DraftKings. And as you look down through this site, they've got all sorts of good content here. They've got videos and all sorts of tools to help you guys be successful in your fantasy football leagues this year. Okay, getting back to Yahoo, and we've got less than a minute now before our draft is going to kick off. We've got the number 7 overall pick, so we're kind of sitting in the middle here. Usually if you're first, second, or third, you kind of know who you're going to get. There's a handful of guys that can only go up there, and we've got to kind of watch those guys go off the board, or maybe, hopefully, if we get lucky, one of those guys slips, like a Shady McCoy. That would be nice. Highly doubt it, though. But picking at number 7, so kind of in the middle of the round, and it's not a bad spot. So, a couple of things to note. We've got a couple transactions that just happened within the last 24 hours in the NFL. One is Josh Gordon is lost for the season for the Cleveland Browns. It was ruled that they were going to keep that enforcement of the full NFL season intact. So, in fact, Josh Gordon will not be with the Cleveland Browns this year, and he is actually looking into getting on with a CFL, Canadian Football League team for this year. So, playing north of the border possibly in the future for Josh Gordon. Another thing that really boosts a running back that you may not have had on your radar, some news today is the Patriots send over Logan Mankins, offensive lineman, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for tight end Tim Wright. And what this is going to do is, Doug Martin's always been on my radar, and this could put him into the top 10 in overall fantasy rankings when the year is said and done. Tampa Bay did take some hits on their offensive line, but they added a whole lot of offensive firepower. And with that addition of Logan Mankins, that could steady that line up, and you could see a lot of goal line carries for Mr. Doug Martin. So, got to keep your eye on. I'm not sure where Yahoo has him ranked, but I'm sure it's not top 10. As we go on, let's see if we can find Doug Martin here, where they've got him ranked. We've got him ranked at number 29 overall. So a guy to keep an eye on in these first early rounds, and see how far he slips, and see if anybody's paying attention to any of the latest news. So there's a tip for you guys. Keep up on your transactions. A couple places you can go every day, and it only takes a couple minutes. One is ESPN's got an NFL Nation right off their NFL tab. NFL Nation has a list of all the NFL teams with their top headline for that day. So that's a good place to start. Just go there and kind of take a look at those real quick. It takes 30 seconds. There's some other websites I like to use. FantasyFootballPick.com is one. And then there's a handful of other sites that I use. But those are a couple quick ones right off the top of my head. All right. Looks like we've got about 15 seconds counting down here. 10, 9, 8. So we're almost to the first pick overall. If I had the first overall pick, I would go with Shady McCoy. To me, he's in Chip Kelly's offense, and if there's a question between another player and a player in Chip Kelly's offense with another year under him, you've got to go with the Eagle. So for me, number 1 overall in this spot has to be Shady. Unfortunately, I don't have that tough decision to make, and we'll wait and see who goes number 1, 2, and 3. And then we've got number 7. So number 7 on my board, number 7 overall, I've actually got Demaryius Thomas. It's funny, I've got Eddie Lacy 4, and I've got Jimmy Graham actually number 5 on my board overall. I'm down on receivers this year, guys, but it's really key to know how your league scoring is before you go into any drafting. You want to know, what players to target according to the rules and the scoring. So that, number one, is the number one most important thing overall. Know what your league scoring is before you go in there. You might get a point for reception. In, PPR league, you want to target wide receivers. However, this is a standard scoring format. We've got 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 1 quarterback with a tight end, defense, and kicker. So I guess the strongest position this year in my eyes is wide receiver. You can find a good wide receiver in the later rounds, rounds 3, 4, 5. I would not target a wide receiver right off the bat. I would get your running back, get a stud running back, and then keep your eyes on quarterback. If you only got the 1 quarterback playing, you want to make that's an important decision there. So here we are. Number 7, I see Eddie Lacy. I can't go wrong with Eddie Lacy, Jimmy Graham at all. Peyton Manning. I'm almost tempted to take Peyton Manning here, but I'm going to go with the for sure thing. Peyton Manning's ranked number 9 on my board, but I'm going with Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy, to me, just squeaks out Jimmy Graham by a little bit, just a hair. And, with that offense in Green Bay, he's going to get so many opportunities at the goal line, inside the red zone. He can catch the ball in the backfield. They still have a strong offense in Green Bay. They're going to be able to move the ball. He's going to get the majority of the carries, and he's a big back. And, I look for Eddie Lacy to have a big year this year with Green Bay. So Eddie Lacy is our first overall pick at number 7. Not bad, not bad. I'll take that every time. Twice on Sunday. And here we are. We're just outside the top 10. Dez Bryant going number 11 overall. Wow, Jimmy Graham went number 9. Peyton Manning did go number 8, right behind my pick. That was a toss-up for me. Peyton Manning or Eddie Lacy. It's a tough decision there, but I went with Eddie Lacy. And I believe there's some quarterbacks in this year's draft that are going to be overlooked. One being Russell Wilson. And I believe every site I've been to, they've got him way down. Let's see if we can find Russell Wilson on Yahoo's list. Ben Tate. I think Ben Tate takes a hit with Josh Gordon being out. Defenses are going to stack the box against Cleveland until they can prove one of those receivers can break out. Jordan Cameron probably be double teamed. It's going to be tough for that Cleveland offense, I believe. I still don't see. There's it. Russell Wilson ranked number 91 overall. Phillip Rivers 92. Those are 2 really good quarterbacks, guys. Keep your eye on. Phillip Rivers, that breakout year last year, was just off the chart. And here we are. Okay, I want to target running backs, like I said, most importantly this year, and maybe quarterback number 2. Wide receivers, we've got a deep amount of wide receivers in this year's draft. I really like Le'Veon Bell. I've got Drew Brees sitting there staring at me in the face. Alshon Jeffrey, if it was a PPR league, I might take him. I've got to take Drew Brees. I got to take Drew Brees here, guys, because, like I said, in this format, know your league. There's only 1 quarterback starting. Drew Brees should have another killer year. They've added some speed with Brandon Cooks, new acquisition this year in the draft. They've got still have Kenny Stills. They did lose Lance Moore, but I don't think that's a big loss there. You still got Jimmy Graham. You still got Marcus Colston, and I think Colston's, he's getting up there. He's been around a while, but he can still catch the ball. So I like Drew Brees and his yardage and touchdowns that comes with him. So, okay, so here we're at pick 20. Andre Ellington went off the board to Arizona. From Arizona right after Drew Brees. That's kind of shocking to me. Monte Ball at 16. That's a steal. Monte Ball, I think after everything's done this year, he could be a top 10 fantasy player overall, as well as Doug Martin. So those guys, kind of like a tie to me. They could be the number 10th overall fantasy player with those offenses that they got going on. You know, Denver, Monty Ball is going to get a lot of ball. Should be a stud this year in that Denver offense. And then I like the acquisition of Logan Mankins for Tampa Bay and Doug Martin. So 2 guys to keep an eye on in your drafts as you're going through that. Just keep an eye out because that transaction with Tampa Bay, that just happened, and they're not going to have those guys slotted accordingly. So you may get a leg up on somebody that's overlooked Doug Martin. Well, here we are. We're at pick 25. We are about 6 picks away from our number 31 pick overall. So we've got Drew Brees and Eddie Lacy start our team out. That's a nice start. Real nice start, guys. And I'm looking at one guy on the board right now, and the guy that we were talking about, actually there's 2. Zach Stacy should have actually there's 3 I'm looking at right now. Zach Stacy, Antonio Brown, and Doug Martin. You cannot go wrong with any of those guys, and somebody just took Alfred Morris off the board. I like the Rob Gronkowski taken at 25th. That's a nice pick. There we go. Doug Martin at 27. They got that one. I'm hoping for Zach Stacy or Antonio Brown slipping to me here. So we've got, 2 picks. Antonio Brown just went. Doug Martin. Oh, man. And this next pick's probably going to be Zach Stacy. If they go Zach Stacy, I've got to be ready. I like Julius Thomas, tight end. I hope I don't. Boy, come on. This guy is taking his time. Yep, he went Julius Thomas. So that's a good pick for him. Real good pick for that guy there. I love Percy Harvin. He's ranked number 45th overall on Yahoo. I really like Percy Harvin, but I cannot pass up Zach Stacy. With the injury to Bradford, Stacy's going to be that offense. And he's a guy that, he gets most of the carries in St. Louis. A guy that's kind of going to be overlooked again, and he slipped. In my opinion, he slipped. So, wow, I'm super excited with Eddie Lacy and Zach Stacy. These guys kind of rhyme. Being in the backfield along with Drew Brees, and now is a time to target your wide receivers. There's such a big gap between the top receivers, say the top tier receivers and the second tier receivers. I really like Percy Harvin as being able to make it up to that top tier receiver. He's going to do a lot of things for Seattle, and it's another reason why I really like Russell Wilson again this year to even improve off of what he did last year. Don't know if a Super Bowl is in his future again, but as far as fantasy-wise, Russell Wilson should tear it up again this year. I mean, there's no reason why not. And as I'm looking down through here, Deshaun Jackson, that's Washington's new acquisition. Took him from the Eagles. This guy should have a monster year with RG3 throwing him the ball. Like that. Okay, so we got pick 42 coming up here shortly. Looks like Victor Cruz and Cobb for Green Bay just went off the board. 2 receivers back-to-back there. Nick Foles. Boy, would that be nice to add him as a backup. I don't think I can take a backup quarterback right now, but Nick Foles in that offense, another year, like I said, under Chip Kelly, definitely in the conversation. Yeah, it's just too quick to take a backup quarterback right now, guys. We're looking at probably wide receiver, tight end here. And, okay, so we're 2 picks away. I'm kind of looking at, let's go a little wide receivers here. Wide receiver, is Jordan Cameron still available? I see Percy Harvin. Is Jordan Cameron still available? Wow. Jordan Cameron's still available. I think he's going to have a harder time this year without Josh Gordon. I think he's going to get some doubles, and they're going to stack the box. I think I got to go with Percy Harvin here, guys. Percy Harvin it is. Garcon, I don't know. You know, you got Garcon and you got Jackson together, right? So I think they're going to kind of cancel each other out. Both should have pretty good years. Cordell, how do you say that name? Cordell Patterson. This Patterson guy, he was basically the top receiver. Him and Josh Gordon were the top receivers last year at the end of the year. That's a guy to keep an eye on. I just don't have a whole lot of confidence in Minnesota's offense there. So, but you know, if he has another big year, look out. So looking at our picks so far, we've got number 55 overall pick coming up here in about 10 picks, but we've got Drew Brees at quarterback, Percy Harvin wide receiver, Eddie Lacy and Zach Stacy's running backs. Two guys on the top of my mind that I'm thinking about right now is Nick Foles. If he slides any further and nobody jumps on Nick Foles, I would love to have him as a backup quarterback and kind of switch him out with Drew Brees according to matchups during the year. You can only start one quarterback in this league, and I would love to be able to do that musical chairs at quarterback with those two guys for 2014. Also, too, it really helps out if you've got another stud quarterback in there. You know, if you do run into an injury, hopefully we don't see that, but it's always possible and very possible with the quarterback position. Moving along, we still need to get some wideouts here. We've got basically three spots: a tight end and two wide receivers. We need some pass catchers, so let's keep an eye on these guys. Looks like, you know, Deshaun Jackson taken 48th overall, T.Y. Hilton 49th. Chip Kelly's offense, Jeremy Maclin. This is a guy that could have a huge year. Doesn't have the breakaway speed, but he catch the ball, he can get open, and I expect them, you know, the Eagles to be scoring tons of points. Julian Edelman, another guy that's going to be, he's sort of Mr. Consistent. I don't think he ever gets shut out as far as catches. You know, he's always going to catch the ball with Tom Brady throwing to him, so that's a guy to think about here coming up. Crabtree, man, that's another, he's 50, we're at 53, yeah. I mean, we can consider Michael Crabtree too. Let's take a look at the tight ends real quick before our pick. We're picking up next. We got Jordan Cameron sitting here. I really like Zach Ertz. I think I'm going to wait on tight end. I think I'm going to target Zach Ertz at tight end, see if I can't get him. Julian Edelman. So here we go. We've got Torrey Smith. You know, don't sleep on Torrey Smith this year. Terrence Williams for Dallas. Why is... I don't like that spot. Julian Edelman, I think it's going to be the guy here. Let's go with him. Julian Edelman. Nice possession receiver. You know, very capable of catching 10 passes every game from Tom Brady. Maybe getting in the end zone. It's a guy that's going to always get you points and, you know, very rarely will be shut out. So as we're looking at some of these guys here, looks like we got pick number 66 coming up next here in about nine picks. Let's look at the offense overall. Let's see. I said Nick Foles, guy to target. Let's see if he's still available. And tight end, I really like the combination between Zach Ertz and Nick Foles this year. Foles should have a Jordan Cameron year this year like Cameron had last year for Cleveland. I really expect that. He's high on my list. And if I can get Ertz, I'm going to snatch him up. And if I can't get Ertz, he's gone. I'm probably going to go with his quarterback, Nick Foles. I think I can take that chance, take that really top echelon quarterback there in that spot and still get a really good wide receiver and tight end, and then start to fill my backups in. So we're about 5 picks away. We're at pick 61 right now. We're picking at 66. We just had Andrew Luck. Man, Andrew Luck. went 60th overall. I expect big things from Andrew Luck as well this year. A couple Cleveland Browns there. Looks like Jordan Cameron went at 56 and Ben Tate at 61. Wow, I think that's a reach on Ben Tate. He should get some goal line carries with Cleveland, but they're going to stack the box against Cleveland. He's really got to prove something to me before I take him. 61, Ben Tate seems a little bit too high for me. I kind of like the idea of going with Nick Foles to kind of handcuff the rest of the guys in the league. It always gives you trade bait during the season. It gives you security in case Breeze would get hurt. I could play a little musical chairs there when they go up against a bad defense. This is a tough call for me, guys. Pick 66. We've got Zach Ertz sitting there along with Nick Foles. And, I think I got to go Nick Foles here. I'm going to go Nick Foles. And that does a couple things for my team. Like I said, that does a couple things for my team. Let me see about wide receivers just real quick. He is by far going to have one of the best rookie seasons this year, in my opinion. Who else is Cam Newton going to throw to? He's got Mr. Reliable, Olsen at tight end, but, Cam likes to get the ball down the field. And, Benjamin, he may be forced into this offense maybe a little earlier, but, he reminds me of a little bit more sure-handed pass catcher than Braylon Edwards, but he reminds me of Braylon Edwards a little bit. Braylon had a really good year with the Browns the 1 year, and then he's kind of bounced around, and I don't know if that guy's head's on straight, but he had some drop issues, Edwards. So, all right, guys, so we're looking at pick number 114 coming up, and I'm probably not going to hold you too much longer here. You kind of get the idea of what I'm looking at, and right now you might want to target a good defense. Kicker you can always get in the last couple rounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at any offensive player that looks and just jumps off at us at the board, and if that is not the case, we are definitely going... Jordan Matthews for Philadelphia. That is a guy that kind of piques my interest too, and that's a guy that you're going to get in late rounds. You'll be able to get him in late rounds. Really like Jordan Matthews this year for Philly. Keep an eye on him. So here we are, Mike Evans. Man, I like Mike Evans. Let's go defense real quick, see what we got out there. The Denver defense, Baltimore, Miami. I'm going to target the Cleveland defense, and I think I can get them in another couple rounds. So let's go. Let's look at the running backs. We're going Sammy Watkins here, guys. And here's the reason. A lot of people are down on him because of the Buffalo